What's at stake? Title IX, What You Should Know.
Hello, my name is Nina Chaudhry and I'm Senior Counsel at the National Women's Law Center. I'd like to talk to you today about Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972. When most people hear the words Title IX, if they think of anything, they think about women in sports. And it's true that Title IX is a law that covers women in sports, but it's also a law that addresses much more. It was passed in 1972 to prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex in all federally funded education programs. That includes the area of sports, but it also includes things like career and vocational education. It prohibits things like sexual harassment and discrimination against pregnant and parenting students, and a whole host of other types of discrimination. So I want to take you through a little bit of why Title IX was and is still necessary. When Title IX was passed, girls and women were not allowed into schools in many instances. And I think people forget that. People think that, now that women and girls are almost half of the college population and represent large majorities in graduate schools, that was always the case. And in fact, before Title IX, women and girls were routinely denied admission to colleges, to graduate schools, solely because they were women. So Title IX opened the doors to education, broadly speaking, for women and girls. And prior to Title IX, girls and women were also tracked into fields like home ec and cosmetology, while some of the more technical fields were really reserved for boys and men. In the area of athletics, Title IX has made a huge difference for women and girls. Before Title IX, women and girls were not playing sports at the rates that they are now. There were virtually no athletic scholarships available to them, and they were receiving hardly any of the budgets in athletics departments. Now they're playing at much greater rates. The numbers for women and girls are roughly around a little over 40% at both the high school and college levels, and they're reaping the great benefits that come with participating in athletics, which include greater academic success and better health, lower rates of risky behaviors like smoking and early sexual behavior, and a whole host of other things like improved self-esteem and leadership and team building skills. So Title IX has had an immense impact on women and girls in the area of sports, but there's still a lot of room for progress. We continually hear from parents and students about problems that women and girls are still facing in sports. So for example, we hear about girls who want to play sports that aren't offered by their schools, despite the fact that they're still not getting as many opportunities as the boys are. And we hear about things like softball fields being vastly inferior to baseball fields, not having dugouts, not having batting cages, having rough, debris over the fields, and just not being generally maintained as well. And things that really affect girls' ability to benefit from the sports that they're trying to play, and also just make them feel like they're not as important as the boys. In addition, we hear from coaches who are being retaliated against because they're complaining on behalf of their team and their girls. And we also hear about athletic scholarship discrimination and the fact that women are still not receiving their fair share of athletic scholarship dollars. And in other areas as well, there is still a lot of room for progress. In the pregnant and parenting students arena, for instance, we have reports of girls being kicked out of school when they're pregnant or being treated differently than any other student with a temporary medical disability might be treated. And Title IX has specific rules and regulations for pregnant and parenting students, which is another thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. And in career and vocational education, we still see, unfortunately, the clustering of women and girls in traditionally female, lower-paying jobs, and a lot of barriers such as sexual harassment or other subtle and not so subtle ways of discouraging women and girls from going into the higher wage fields. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in learning more about Title IX, please take a look at our website, www.nwlc.org, and www.title9.info.